Nissan safety car to pull off of its position there and then bring the field of some 15 of these Nissan Micra Cup cars onto pit road. They'll then head out onto the racetrack and we'll begin the procedure, all leading up to the point where the safety car pulls onto pit road, and it'll be up to those two drivers sitting on the front row, Olivier Bedard, Valerie Limoges, who will be side by side to bring the field out of turn number 10. All eyes will be focused on the flaggers stand just before the Michelin Bridge, and if we get a green, we'll be off, and the clock will start on the 40-minute run to the checkered flag here in race number 9. Looking through the field here, Jim, I tell you, one driver who over the years has probably got more wet track experience than anybody else, and that is that number 11 of Norman Boyer. 65 years young. He's driven a lot of race cars on this racetrack a number of times in the wet. So we could see maybe a little bit different kind of race than we did back in May when Bedard took the win. King was the winner in the second race on Sunday, and we had a whole bunch of wild things going on there on the racetrack, including that excursion off the racetrack by Fadi Morad, the rookie driver in car number 77. He did a nice job in qualifying at 1 minute 44.168, just 0.6 of a second off of Bedard's pole time.
The good news, according to my friends at AccuWeather, and well, right now they're good friends because they're saying the light rain should end someplace around 5 o'clock, the 5 o'clock hour. If we're going to be here till 6:30-ish, that's all good news. It might slow things down a little bit for the early part of the Total Quartz 200 Pinty's qualifying session, but as that session goes on, it will get better, which basically means if we can put some of the Pinty's cars on rain tires on the race course and spread it out a little bit, dry it out a little bit faster, it means even better things for the Chevy Silverado 250 Camping World Truck Series qualifying a little later on this afternoon. The other thing I might note, possibility of showers in the evening hours. We might see a shower 6, maybe 7 o'clock in the morning, but the balance, the majority of tomorrow looks to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 27 degrees, cloudy skies. No mention of precipitation tomorrow. It might not be perfect today, more perfect tomorrow, according to AccuWeather.
Well, while we're waiting here for the cars to roll, we have the benefit, Jim, of the Xfinity race going on at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin at the Road America circuit there. That is one of the great road courses in North America. And looking at a pretty good battle that's going on at the front involving the guy who sat on the pole position here and was the fastest qualifier a year ago for the Chevrolet Silverado 250 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series event. So it looks like they're enjoying beautiful sunny skies. So hopefully that's coming our way here for tomorrow. So the field of Nissan Micra Cup cars begin to roll. They go backwards down pit road, make a sharp right-hand bend, and jump onto the racetrack here at turn 10. And now they line up. There is Olivier Bedard, that white and red entry. Alongside is the Valerie Limoges entry. And then we have Kevin King in the 40, Norman Boyer in car number 11, Jake Exton in that Move It car. Love the graphics, the big bug eyes on that 00 car. Fadi Morad, the rookie driver, sitting there in the sixth place position as they prepare to roll out here for their event. Go ahead, Jim.
Just kind of something that we've got to pass along before we get racing. Once again, there's a ton of things going on over the course of the race weekend. One of them is Austin Prentice is celebrating his 16th birthday today, and you're very welcome. And we hope you're having a great day and doing the very best you can to stay dry and have fun. Austin Prentice is 16 today. What a great way to spend a birthday at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Watching some car racing, and we've got lots more to come over the course of the day today. And, of course, in celebration of your birthday, we have fireworks at the end of the afternoon, too.
Well, we're joined in the booth by a gentleman who was part of our broadcast team back in May when it was a whole lot drier. Philippe Brasseur, the managing editor of Pole Position magazine based in Quebec. And Philippe, it's not often, and I don't think in the past years, could the championship be decided this early?
Yeah, exactly. Olivier Bédard has won actually 6 of the first 8 races of the season, so he's in a good place to clinch a third championship. He has previously championed in 2015, the inaugural season of the Micra Cup series, and then in last season.
Since we raced here races 1 and 2 of the championship back in May, I'm sure you've been to all of the other rounds in the championship that ran at Calabogie, at Mont-Tremblant, and then a couple of weeks ago at Trois-Rivières. What were some of the highlights over those 3 weekends for you?
Of course, actually, in Trois-Rivières, Olivier Bédard has won both races, so domination for him, and especially because Kevin King, the major contender for Olivier for the title, has mechanical problems. So for sure, it has been a perfect weekend in Grand Prix de Trois-Rivières for Olivier Bédard, and now also in third place in championship, we have Ontarian driver Jake Exton, who was Rookie of the Year last season, so he's now in very good place in overall championship.
Well, we await the cars to come rolling under the Canadian Tire Bridge. I don't think any of the other races were run in the wet. Who are the drivers in here that might be a little bit quicker in the wet than they are in the dry, and we're going to see them running a lot closer to the front?
This season, it's the first race in the wet, but last season, here at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, the first 2 races of the season were on the wet.
And who was the top drivers there?
Jean-Michel Isabelle on a Paris Performance car number 86, but it's not Jean-Michel is at the wheel today. It's a veteran driver, Peter Cohen, former Endurance Series racer, who is his first start of the season today.
Well, we'll see if the old veteran Peter Cohen, who didn't qualify all that well, is able to jump up here and grab a spot and certainly move up.
What a great looking field.
Yeah.
Wow.
From where he qualified, as we wait the cars here on the front straightaway, and they get the green. We're off and racing as they charge into turn number 1, and they were 3 wide going to turn 1.
3 wide into turn number 1, and actually the 3 wide is for second place, and it looks as though well, is Norman Boye in the 11 car, I believe, has basically said, hey, I'm going to lead the crowd here. If you guys want to fight it out behind me, if you want to try it 3 abreast, you guys go right ahead. I'll watch it in the rearview mirror. Down through turn number 2. Things begin to spread out just a little bit. Nose to tail, the top 5 within inches of each other at the bottom of the quarter. Slippery race conditions. They haven't had the opportunity to practice in these conditions at all. This is their practice lap number 1 of the race.
Bedard, the pole sitter, got shuffled back into about 4th place.
Oh,
exactly, right? Not a good start for Olivier Bedard.
I saw somebody take off, and I thought if anybody would, it would be Olivier.
They work under the bridge through turn number 4, headed to Moss Corner now on this opening lap. And we'll see if anybody pulls out there, try to make a pass. No, it is single file into the Moss hairpin. Now they go up through the gearbox, out of turn number 5, and head up the Andretti straightaway under the Mobil 1 sign. As they head up the Andretti straightaway, it's still tightly bunched.
Kevin King is leading the race in front of Valérie Limoges, and in 3rd place, Normand Boyer, and in 4th place, Olivier Bedard.
It's a great race, that's for sure. Kevin King has really done a great job over the course of the race weekend. Not run one of the front runners in the point standings. Hasn't had an entire season as far as good fortune is concerned. But all weekend long, he's been near the front of the field and is really putting on quite a show here. Knows his way around the racetrack at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Almost side by side at the exit of turn number 9. We've got a great battle on our hands, and yellow flags too. Someone may have made a mistake at the south end of the racetrack.
Yeah, yellow flag, double yellow for the moment.
And that was Kevin King in car number 40. who will be the first of the cars to roll across the line. But again, there's the reason for the yellow flag. The number 88 car, Michael Habrish, is off the racetrack, and that is at the entrance to Moss Corner in turn 5A. So this brings out a full course yellow. The problem down at the south end of the racetrack at turn 5A. And we're under a full course yellow. The clock, of course, continues to roll. So it is King who will get credited with that opening lap lead.
Yeah, turn 5A is where the car came to a stop. The problem became evident in turn number 4 as the car got a little bit sideways, and you can see the marks on the racetrack as it slid across, literally from the outside, or the inside to the outside, as the car came around, oversteered at the exit of turn number 4, came down the hill, got into the gravel trap at the entrance of turn number 5, maybe some contact with the barrier on the outside of that corner as well. The car might be a little bit more heavily damaged than we can see. The bottom line is the car is mired in the gravel down there. We got to get some safety vehicles down there to take it out of harm's way, just in case somebody else has a similar problem.
Indeed, it'll be a few minutes before we're able to get that car out of the gravel trap. And as we work here officially, I think lap number 2 now, and the race leader.
It's a 40 minutes race.
And Philippe, look, see the Solid Experts logo on the side of that race car. That is one of 3 Solid Experts entries here. Michael Habrish, 88, out of the running. Alex Habrish in 75 is also one of those team cars, as was our pole sitter and points leader and championship hopeful Olivier Badard. That is one of the strong multi-car teams here in the series. And we look at the race leader just rolling up across the line here. They'll continue to put the laps up on the board, but it's single file as the drivers tend with the conditions here on the racetrack. The Pirelli P0 tires doing a pretty good job. That was not all that much slower than they were running in the dry. Relatively quick considering the wet track conditions. Up on the video monitors here and elsewhere around the racetrack, we see the tow truck and the safety vehicles have arrived at Moss Corner. They'll get the hook on this Nissan Micra and get it out of there. All of these cars are fitted with front and rear towing hooks, so they should be able to get that car out of there relatively quickly.
I thought it was, oh, sorry, I was just saying, I thought it was interesting when the safety vehicle arrived. He parked in a safe place, so if anybody has a problem, you know, they'll obviously try to avoid the big truck before they get in contact with the race car in the gravel trap. But the crew walked over to the car as if they were walking through deep mud. Whether the weather has gotten to their frame of mind, it was gravel, but even so, they weren't in a big hurry, and they were just going to take their time, walk over and ask the driver if he's okay. Certainly the driver's fine. Helmet comes off. The race is done, so getting things out of harm's way, the driver in not any kind of a situation at all. Getting the car out of harm's way is number 1 of the list of things to do. Shouldn't be too very long at all. As the racers make their way through turn number 5A once again. All bunched up, we're going to have another restart in just a moment's time. We'll have 3 laps in the books. And this car should be taking over to the exit of turn number 5 and taking off the race course, and we'll get things underway momentarily.
And this full course yellow is also the opportunity to see a great first for a motorsport event in Ontario with the Nissan Leaf, a 100% electric car as the official pace car for the series. Nice. So it's a premiere in a motorsports event here in Ontario in a Canadian permanent racetrack.
Well, indeed, we're certainly heading in that direction. The Nissan Leaf that's available from Nissan retailers right across the country, making a first here, history made here this afternoon at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And I'm sure that range on that Nissan Leaf, even though it has to stay out there a long time, no problem at all there.
Not at all, and actually, to be totally honest, over the past 10 years, that's the direction the industry is going, and Nissan is front and center with the wonderful machine that they're showing off here for us this race weekend. People are starting to build hybrid trucks, like half-ton trucks, and that is, hey, it's the way of the planet. People are getting tired of paying gas prices, and maybe this is the way to take care of it.
Yep, a lot of people involved in the Nissan Micra Cup, as we mentioned, a brand new 3-year contract signed here in 2018. And Philippe, your thoughts on the fact for the first time in the series, we've got 6 of the races in Quebec, 6 of the races in Ontario, and racing on some of the best racetracks anywhere.
Yeah, the grand final will be held in the Circuit Mont-Tremblant in Quebec, in Laurentian region, September 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah, indeed, and the colors will be spectacular, as they always are at that part of Quebec in the fall. Nissan Micra Cup Series is powered by Mobil 1 Racing, and of course all of the cars here on those Pirelli P0 tires. As we look on the video monitor that we're working with, the Nissan Leaf pace car rolls over the top of the hill in turn 2, followed by the race leader, Kevin King. And Jim, why don't you run down the running order here as we sit behind the pace car, and hopefully we'll be getting set to go back to green in a couple of laps.
3 laps are in the books as it stands right now at the 8-minute mark of our contest. We're working on lap number 4. Kevin King's the race leader, took the lead into turn number 1 right off the top. Established himself a bit of an advantage, seemed to have things pretty well in order until we had a car with a little miscue down in turn number 5. Someone else who's having a great weekend, Kevin King, bar none. On the other hand, Valerie Limoges has really put on quite a show this race weekend. The second place car in the race order right now. Valerie's been near the top of the charts all weekend long and has really done the best driving of quite likely her career, as far as I can tell. What I've seen of her driving skill. A very nice drive so far today in second place. She's being hounded by that pesky Normand Boyer guy who wants a championship. He's picked up a spot from the opening lap. Now runs in third place overall. Olivier Bedard, again another one of the veterans looking for a championship. Olivia falling down the order a few spots, but basically I don't think he cares. He wants to finish the race. That's all he cares about. So far, fourth place, I think he would be quite happy with that. He doesn't have to take home a small trophy from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It's the big trophy at the end of the season that he's got his eye on. Jake Exton in the 00 car, still solidly in fifth place, picking up a couple of spots. Sylvain Hulette in the 98 machine, up to sixth, rounding out the balance of the top 10 for us. Mike Ogren, like in the 17 car, exactly where he started the day today. Moved down a couple spots and probably a wise move. Fadi Murad in the number 77, one of the rookies in the race series, has apparently, from the look of it, decided he's not going to push things. He's on a racetrack he doesn't know especially well. He's in conditions he's not totally comfortable with, and if he gives up a spot or two but keeps the race car in one piece and is able to race some more and learn from the experience, Fadi Murad now runs in 8th place overall. Eric Chapeau in the number 116, excuse me, in the top 10, 9th place overall. And Peter Dick drives the number 73 car, the top dozen. We've got Mario Berchim in the number 728. Mario, one of the 2 drivers of the car this race weekend. Mario's race day is today. Another driver tomorrow, and we'll talk about that as we get into tomorrow's racing. And rounding at the top dozen, the 20 of Austin Riley. So far, the race leaders have made their way around the racetrack, and they are towing the stricken race car. Actually, it looked as though just the mark on the race surface at the entrance to turn number 5, it looked as though he may have had some contact with the wall, but from the look of the car on the video cameras, the car's 100%, which is certainly good to see.
Well, should be able to get that car repaired, whatever work it needs, in plenty of time for the qualifying tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And then the Nissan Micra Cup drivers have got a long wait until their race at 5 p.m. after our Chevy Silverado 250 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race. Philippe, any surprises here so far in what you've seen? Bedard evidently knows he doesn't need to win to wrap up the championship. Is he going to play it a little bit conservative, try to stay out of trouble, and let those 3 drivers ahead of him maybe battle it out and not put his car in danger?
Yeah, mathematically it's not possible for him to clinch the championship, to secure the championship today, but tomorrow it's a possibility for sure.
So he needs to put that car in a position to possibly win the championship here tomorrow at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, as we do have the big race coming up in about a month at Mont Tremblant on the 22nd and 23rd weekend. Right now, wouldn't be surprised if next time by the lights are still on top of that Nissan Leaf pace car as they roll out of 5B and begin the run up the back straightaway. We'll see whether or not we go back to green next time across the stripe, or whether or not they add one additional lap here under the full course yellow before we go back to racing. The official clock here shows just about almost 13 minutes in and a scheduled 40 minutes. So a total of about 27 minutes still to go. Lots of racing here as we close out our final race of the day. And of course, we'll get right on to the 2 qualifying sessions and update you as to what is happening with qualifying, given the rain and the wet racetrack for both the NASCAR Pinty Series and the Chevrolet Silverado 250 NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Lights are out on the Nissan Leaf, and we are about to go back to racing. Jim?
Yes, sir. The lights go off as they come up the back straightaway. Everybody in behind realizes the lights are off as well, and they're about to go racing. Some of the wipers are on. Some of the racers have basically said, "I can see through this stuff. It's rain. It's transparent." The Leaf will move to the right-hand side at the exit of turn number 9. Roll down pit lane, clear the way for the balance of the field. Nose to tail at the exit of turn number 9 into turn number 10. Slowly but surely. And one of the things they'll have to be gentle, in spite of the fact that these are the most powerful cars in the world, they don't want to spin up the tires. They don't want to crash the car before they get to start-finish. But they're picking up the pace, and already we've got cars at least looking to the inside to see if there's an advantage, but there isn't one to be had so far. Green flag once again at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
And Kevin King will lead him down into turn 1, single file. There's a little bit of shuffling going on just back. That is Fatty Moran, who had qualified 6th, but he's back at about 8th or 9th. So evidently the wet track conditions not to his liking. Kevin King, your leader. Valerie Limoges is all over his rear bumper. Then it is Norman Boyer sitting there in the 3rd place spot. They run it up into turn number 3, and it's still a 5-car freight train, and they're using a slightly different line. There is Bedard right down on the inside, and that car back there in 5th is completely wide on the turn, and now they run down through turn number 4, headed back to Moss Corner here on what should be lap number 5.
Interesting perspective. Different lines around the racetrack. Some people driving the wet line on the outside, staying away from the usual line where there might be a little bit of oil bubbling to the top through the rainwater which has fallen. As much as the driving lines are interesting, it's also interesting, given our perspective, who's using wipers and who isn't. The race leader looks as though every now and then he just wipes the windshield off and then shuts the system off. Everybody else is running with wipers on fast, on slow, a little bit of everything. There's lots of choices to be made, and they're driving race cars all at the same time.
And we have a battle here for that 4th place position. The 00 Jake Exton try to get around Olivier Bedard on the Andretti straightaway. Wasn't able to get it done. And Philippe, as they run down through turn number 9 here and into 10, we have got 6 cars just locked in a battle up front as they move on the start-finish straightaway and back up across the line using every inch of the racetrack. It is still Kevin King in car number 40. He's led every lap here so far.
Yeah, Kevin King very aggressive to protect the lead in front of his teammate Valérie Limoges. So Valérie is Kevin's teammate in the Speed and Sport racing team.
The best battle on the racetrack coming down the start-finish line. A pass in turn number 10. Peter Dick moves to the inside in the 73 car and got by Eric Chaput's number 116. That's a battle for 8th place overall, but Peter Dick has moved up 3 spots since the beginning of our contest and has improved his position on the racetrack as much as anybody else. He's driving very, very hard in the number 73 car, currently in 8th.
change in that third place position. The pole sitter and points leader, Olivier Bedard, got around Norman Boyer. Here comes Boyer battling back on the inside through turn number 4. And the veteran Norman Boyer, remember, he is a senior class driver. He took back third. Bedard dives in on the inside through Moss Corner, and Bedard will retake the third place spot. But here comes Boyer. He'll pull up alongside. They'll go door handle to door handle, and Boyer has retaken that third place spot.
Norman Boyer, the old veteran, basically says, if you want to drive by me the inside of the corner, I'll take you at the exit. And that's exactly what he did. Norman Boyer let Olivier Bedard get by the inside. He had maybe the slightest of advantages halfway through the corner, but at the exit, Norman had the opportunity to put the throttle down a little bit earlier, get a little bit more speed, and here he comes.
And we have also a battle for the lead between Kevin King, number 40, and Valerie Limoges, number 220.
Boy, that's a great dice through turn number 10. Valerie Limoges, the bright green-yellow machine. Valerie, the 220 car, when they cross the start-finish line last 0.3 of a second. This time by when they cross the line, it's up to 0.4. She tried really hard and maybe gave up 1/10 of a second on that lap, but just 0.4 of a second, next to nothing.
And there's that fight again, as now a challenge for fourth by Jake Exton in the 00 Move-It car. He has pushed Olivier Bedard back into fifth, but here comes Bedard. He'll take a look on the inside into turn number 2, and Olivier Bedard will muscle his way back around into that fourth place position. Again, he knows he's got the big points lead of the championship. He doesn't want to drive it off of the racetrack. A bit of a gap back to car number 98, Sylvain Ouellette, who qualified 8th fastest. He is 6th overall, and he would be the second place senior class driver, so a good run for him. He was up there with that lead group, but has dropped back in the last couple of laps. They worked through turn 4, down the chute, and we've got a lead battle going on into the hairpin. Valerie Limoges in car number 220, just about 3 car lengths back of the race leader, Kevin King. Then it is 11 Norman Boyer in third, Olivier Bedard, the pole sitter, in fourth, and the 00 of Jake Exton rounds out the top 5.
Lots of learning going on, that's for sure. Jake Exton with the 00 car with the Union Jack on the roof of his machine, and I can't help but imagine lots of the other racers are out on the race circuit going, okay, you and a whole bunch of your team may be native Britons and might be more familiar with the damp conditions, but we know this racetrack. Just watch, we'll show you. What a great battle side by side in turn number 8. A pair of cars side by side, including Valerie Limoges on the inside of the corner, the outside of turn number 9, and she might lose the spot coming into turn number 10.
Indeed, Boyer gets around on the outside, Bedard right there in fourth, and now Jake Exton in the 00, the driver from Guildford, England, aboard that Move-It machine, running there in the 5th place spot. Right now, Kevin King trying to check out on the rest of the field, the 11 car of Norman Boyer, the senior class leader. Then it is Valerie Limoges in third, and now the battle side by side going up into turn number 2, as again Jake Exton took a look on the inside. It wasn't there, and that 00 Move-It car still holding on to the 5th place spot.
Boy, he got caught out big time at the exit of turn number 1, literally ran out of real estate, had to ease up just a little bit to ease it back out onto the racetrack. It did so successfully, but boy, it had to be a pretty nervous proposition watching the grass come up at the exit of 1.
Leaders working down under the bridge through turn number 4, headed for Moss Corner. And now things really starting to heat up here for second, third, and fourth. Boyer holding off Limoges. Then it is Bedard. And then the 00 of Exton, Valerie Limoges, putting a real charge. She's tucked right up on the rear bumper. And Philippe, this is the kind of drafting we've seen throughout all of the other rounds of the championship. But Kevin King has been able to open up a little bit of a gap, but those cars behind him trying to work together in the draft to reel him back in.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin King is in a very comfortable position. Of course, he's leading the race, but also due to the rain, it's not a problem for him. But actually, Norman Boyer is very, very close.
Norman Boyer off the end of the Andretti straightaway into the top of the S's has got it down to within a couple of car lengths. And Jim, We said that Boyer might be very strong here in the wet, and that's exactly what we're seeing here out of turn number 10. They roll up across the line, and this will be lap, just check the lap board, I believe that's 9 laps up on the board. And again, here's that battle going on for 4th place. Bedard getting pushed a little bit wide, and it is the number 00 pulling up alongside Jake Exton, the Guildford, England driver, side by side with Bedard, but Bedard had the inside position, and he will retake that 4th place spot into turn number 2.
In the space of 2 corners, they traded that position 3 different times. And Olivier Bedard holds on. Jake Exton did everything he could in turn number 1, but couldn't quite carry enough momentum to make the pass stick in turn number 2, and had to give it back again. This race has turned into the best racing we've seen all day out on the race course. We've got 5 cars battling for 1st place overall. Kevin King, Norman Boyer, Valerie Limoges in the middle of it all. Olivier Bedard and Jake Exton, 1 through 5, and the cars are running within tenths of a second of each other all the way through 5th place overall.
In 5A there, Valerie Limoges, that car, I think she may have clipped the inside curbing. The car got unsettled for just a moment, and that caused the Bedard car to back off, and that has cost them here coming out of the Moss hairpin. I think the revs were off just a little bit, Philippe, and here comes the 00 of Jake Exton trying to pull up alongside and retake that 4th place position. It's going to be a side-by-side battle coming under the Canadian Tire Bridge into the top of the S is King, still your leader. Boyer right there in the 2nd.
We have a new leader. Norman Boyer is now the new leader of the race. Yes, take the position, and Kevin King is now in 2nd place. Valerie Limoges 3rd. Jake Exton in 4th place, and Olivier Bedard in 5th place now.
Oh, they shuffle the deck here up front as we got a new leader, Norman Boyer. Then it is Kevin King, then Valerie Limoges, then Jake Exton, and our points leader and pole sitter shuffled all the way back into that 5th place position as they work off at turn number 1, headed up to turn 2 in a very fast 5-car battle going on up front.
Mathematically, what this turns into the top 5 cars: 1st to 2nd place, 4 tenths. Back to 3rd place, 9 tenths. Back to the 4th place machine. There's another 6 tenths of a second. Back to the 5th place machine, 2 tenths of a second. The top 5 cars are separated by 1.6 seconds. Then there's an 8-second space before we get to the 6th place car.
And that race, Philippe, for 4th goes back and forth. Olivier Bedard back around Jake Exton in that Move It 00 car as they've been going back and forth down through turn 4 into the chute. Here's the run up in a Moss corner. It is still Boyer, followed by Kevin King, Limoges, Bedard, and then it is that 00 Move It car of Jake Exton. And again, Exton tucked right up on the bumper of the Bedard machine as they work under the Mobile One bridge and head up the Andretti straightaway.
It's as if he can reach out and grab onto the back bumper and just hold on all the way up the back straightaway. The car's not very big, and his arms aren't quite that long, but I can't help but imagine if he could, he would. The cars are that close coming up to the top of the straightaway again, and it looks as though the biggest gap of the top 5 cars, the one between Norman Boyer and the 11 race leading and Kevin King's number 40 car, about half a second separates those two, but that's as big as the gap gets.
And Philippe, I don't think we've ever seen one of these races where a senior class driver's leading everybody, but that's what we have right now. Here's Norman Boyer off at turn number 10. He'll work up across the line. This will be lap number 11 going up on the board.
Yeah, it's a premiere, first to have a senior class driver who's leading the overall race.
And now we look at that race going on for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Valerie Limoges being closed in on here by Bedard in car number 1, and he'll bring the 00 Move It machine of Jake Exton along with him. This one a long, long way from over, and you can see these drivers, they're trying different lines, trying to find a little bit more grip out there here on the racetrack.
Norman Boyer slides the car. He slides it through 2, slides it through 3, holds on, but just by the skin of his teeth.
Unbelievable save there by Norman Boyer as he calls on all